So were you surprised when these reports came out, when you haven't made a decision that seemingly others say you have?
There's always a good line that, I'm responsible for what I say and do, and not responsible for what others say or do. So again, I think one thing I've learned about sports is, you control what you can control, and, what you can't, you leave to others.
Here to break it all down, legendary sportscaster, friend of the program, Fox News sports analyst, the host of the podcast, Let's Go with Tom Brady, available, by the way, on Apple, wherever you stream your podcasts. Jim is friends and has been friends with Tom Brady. And by the way, Jim is friends with everybody because Jim is like the nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. And there's a lot of good guys in sports. Jim Nantz is a great guy. You're a great guy. Al Michaels is a great guy. I'm sure I'm forgetting some people here, but it's an interesting crowd. But all right, so you're friends with Tom. You do this podcast with him. How often do you do it?
We've done it the past 12 years together on Monday Night Football and now on SiriusXM. Let's Go on SiriusXM. The podcast is available. It's with Tom Brady, myself, and Larry Fitzgerald, so we've done it for a long time.
All right, so the speculation comes out. The reports came out. I'll be honest, I was surprised. He had one of the best seasons statistically that he's ever had. And I'm thinking, no, why is he retiring? He's at the top of his game. I know he wants to be in the Super Bowl. It was such a great comeback. He came that close. I couldn't believe it. It was one of the more exciting. All these playoff games have been amazing. And it's like that Rocky moment when he says, I still have stuff in the basement. I'm hoping Tom has stuff in the basement. What did he tell you?
Well, he said tonight that he has not come to a decision, that he is taking it day to day, and then when he makes a decision, he will let us all know. He said last week that he has two loves, and obviously we've all known that for a long time. He loves football and he loves his family. He also said that his family needs him, and it's not just about what he wants to do, but what they all want to do as a family. So he's weighing this all out. He's number one in all the statistical categories. He possibly is an MVP, probably Aaron Rodgers, and Tom will finish second in the voting. But at 44 years of age, he said he would quit when he sucks. Well, he certainly doesn't suck. But certainly all of these other things come into play. He's been in 10 Super Bowls. He's played and won 7 of them. So, he will just decide whether or not he wants to go through this entire process again. And at 44 years of age, he's entitled to do that. He has earned the right and the respect of all of us to let him make his own announcement.
I listened to a lot of the podcasts. You sent me clips. And he gave you a pretty good answer on why no decision yet. And he also responded to the unfortunate speculation. Tell us what he told you.
Well, he didn't want to upstage or have this upset all of the guys in the NFL who worked so hard to be in the AFC Championship and the NFC Championship game. He doesn't want to be the center of attention. He would be the center of attention if he was in the game. But unfortunately for him, the Buccaneers lost last week to the Rams, and the Rams have now advanced. So he's not about upstaging anybody. He's had more attention than anybody could have for the past 40 lifetimes. So it's not about all of that to him. And he's just on his own timetable. You don't do something for 30 years and be as proficient and as great as he had, and then all of a sudden reach a decision overnight. He needs some space. He needs some time. He doesn't want to make an emotional decision. He wants to think it through. He wants to discuss it with his family. He has teammates, obviously. He has an organization. And he has a business, so everybody has to be taken into account. So there is no rush. The Buccaneers don't have to know for quite a while here as to what the plans are for Tom. So he'll take his time, and he may end up not coming back, or he may end up playing. Neither would surprise me, but he certainly, once again, Sean, has earned the right to make his own decision on his own timetable and not be pushed into something or have to respond to everything that comes out at every moment.
He didn't sound angry or bitter. He just said it was unfortunate that the media rushed with the news that wasn't news. So he had a pretty good, I thought, pretty objective attitude. We got about 20 seconds.
He understands what's going on, and he understands what's going on in the media landscape. And he also understands that these guys are doing their jobs, and they're probably doing their jobs to the best of their ability, and that's the information that they had. That doesn't mean that it's right, and it doesn't mean that it's right at this moment. It may turn out right. We don't know. I don't know. All I know is that when he makes a decision, we'll all be informed, and he hasn't done that yet.
Selfishly, I love watching him play. I like to see him come back. Jim, Greg, good to see you, my friend. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.